singing in just a little bit. Hey. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Our goal is to unfreeze the board and then to be able to write equations. And so throughout all of Chapter 5, that's what we're going to work on is writing equations. And every time you hear write an equation, I want it in slope-intercept form. So what is slope-intercept form again, ladies and gentlemen? All right, you guys could have filled these out without me. So, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, they don't give me slope and y-intercept. But what I can always get from the information is slope and a point. And so, because I will always get at least those two pieces of information, there is a form for that called point-slope form. And so that allows me to use the slope. So if you look, m is right here, and we'll plug m in there. And then there's also a point, x1 and y1, and then we'll plug in values for those. And so it's a formula, it's a form that has positions for slope and a point, m and x1 and y1, that we can plug that information into and then manipulate that equation to get a y equals mx plus b equation. Now here's where it becomes a little difficult, and this is the type of problem that I see most students struggle with. They're going to look at that graph and they're immediately going to start using point-slope form. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, you want to look and see, can you find your m value and can you find your b value? So when you look at this graph, guys, can you find m and b? Yeah. That b value is exactly here at this point. It's exactly there at positive 3. So you still want to be able to look through those graphs and look and see, can I find the y value? Can you find the slope? Yeah. Count your rise and your run. You went down 1, 2, 3. You went over 1, 2. So your slope was negative 3 over 2. So sometimes when you're given graphs, they still give you all the information you need for y equals mx plus b. And so we'll write that equation just like you guys did on your quiz. Y equals negative 3 halves x plus 3. But there are other times, ladies and gentlemen, where they don't give me all the information I need, or the information they give me is a little incomplete. If you look, here's the y-intercept. What point is that? What's that b value?
Positive 4.
Well, guys, why aren't you answering that as quickly as you did on the first one?
Because it's half.
Because, yeah, it looks like a half. It's not exactly a point, is it, Jackson?
No.
And so what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to be exact. And so this is an example where we're going to want to use point slope form. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, when I don't know exactly what the b value is, that's what I'm going to use. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm still going to count slope like I did before. There's 2 good points, and they kind of highlighted those for you. And so we're going to count down 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. So I get an m value of negative 2/3. But what I'm going to have to do now is pick one of those 2 points, and we're going to show you what point-slope form looks like. I'm going to let Josiah decide for us. Josiah, do you want to use the point on the left or the point on the right?
Left.
Left. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no wrong answer to that question. Okay, you could use either point. But we're going to use this point here on the left. Who thinks they can name that point for us accurately is XY coordinates? What is that point? Miss Renfro. Negative 1, 1. Good job. So let's take a look at what it looks like when we use point-slope form. We're going to start with y minus. So we have y minus. We have to plug in the y coordinate. What's the y coordinate of that ordered pair? 1. Then what comes after the y1? Equals. What comes after the equal sign? The m, the negative 2/3. Good job. Next comes parentheses x, right guys? You guys see I'm just going back up to that point slope form. So we're going to have parentheses x, and then we have to minus, and then what's my x value? -1, right? Well, thank you, Corey. Ladies and gentlemen, should we write it as just +1? Yes. If you're plugging in a negative, let's put that as +1. All right. But I still want to have y equals mx plus b. That's my goal every single time. So how do you take this point slope form and get it to y equals mx plus b? What do you think our first step needs to be? Beautiful, Lucas. I need to distribute. You're going to go through and simplify that right-hand side. So, -2/3 x, and then -2/3 times 1 is a -2/3. This right-hand or left-hand side is still just y minus 1. And then, Cody, what are you saying we need to do?
We need to remove the 1.
We need to remove the 1. So how do I remove the -1? Add 1. And sometimes you will get fractions, ladies and gentlemen, but I think we've taken care of that because you all have a calculator, correct? Or you're all supposed to have a calculator.
Yes.
And so we get y is equal to -2/3 x. What is -2/3 plus 1? Hannah? 1/3. All right. Does that answer make sense?
Sure. No.
Okay, sure. Yes, no. Well, why? Why do you say sure, Sebastian?
Because
Because you just watch me do all this math and I never make mistakes? You're wrong. I make lots of mistakes. All right, so keep going.
Yes.
So why?
Because y equals mx plus b, and then then you had this -2 over the 3x. That would be correct because that's where it belongs.
And that's what we counted for our slope, right, guys? Is this the slope you counted at the beginning of the problem? Is that what you had in front of x here? Yeah. So Sebastian's right in noticing that. Is 1/3 a good answer?
No. Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, does anyone remember what Cody originally guessed out loud? He guessed the wrong one, but he said 1/2. Is 1/3 close to 1/2, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. Is 1/3 between 0 and 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got -2 and 2/3, would that answer have made any sense? Because -2 and 2/3 is way down here. So what you need to make sure is that whatever value you get here matches that same position on the graph. All right? Let's take a look at the next example. It says write an equation in point slope form. So this time we're just going to stop at the point slope form. Remember that's y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. For a line that passes through the point 1, 2 and has a slope of 1/2. So the first thing I'm going to write down on my paper is what? Y minus. I need to subtract y1. So what's the y coordinate here? 2. So we're going to have y minus 2 equals, Michael, what needs to come next? What's after the equal sign? M, and M stands for slope. And what's the slope of this problem? 1/2. So I'm going to plug in 1/2. We then have parentheses, x minus. I need to plug in x1. Tyler Fillmore, what's the x coordinate of our point? 1. And ladies and gentlemen, you can stop right there because I just want you to use point slope form. So some of your problems are going to say write in point slope form, just so that Mr. Clem and I can see that you're plugging things in correctly. Because if you're not plugging things in correctly, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to get to the correct y equals mx plus b. Morgan. Okay, we're at.
How do you get like what are the x's
They come from the ordered pair.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Y and X are just in there. Gentlemen. We're always going to have the variables y and x in there for y equals mx plus b. The m gets plugged in front of the parentheses on the right hand side where it's always been at. And then we put the y coordinate on the left hand side where y is at. We put the x coordinate on the right hand side where x is at. So we're still kind of in that form of y equals mx plus b. We just plugged the ordered pair in with y and x. All right? Let's take a look at the next example. So I need to write an equation this time, which means you need to work it out. So whenever you see write an equation, it doesn't say in point slope form. That means you need to give your final answer in y equals mx plus b. So we're going to start with y minus what? 0 equals, I need to plug in my m value. What's my m value? 2. And then I need to have x minus what? Beautiful, Jackson. When we subtract a negative, it becomes addition here. Ms. Piper, what should I do next? I plugged it in. Then I need to distribute. You need to simplify this side because y equals mx plus b doesn't have any parentheses in it. So I need to distribute to get rid of those parentheses. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you really have to do anything with this 0?
No, you can just take that away.
You're just going to get rid of it. So what's our equation here?
Y
equals 2x plus 4.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the next problem is an on your own. That's what we are going to start with for our warm-up on Monday. We will be checking that. So that technically is your homework for this weekend.